Most people tend to overindulge in the holidays, partly because there's a lot more food available, and it tends to be celebratory food, so we go back to our childhood, and those are the cookies that we like, and we end to eat them that way. Also, there's more visiting, so there's more food associated with that, with socialization. But I always go back to saying, I think people see it as a license to overeat because they think this is what everyone does in the holidays. So I try to get people to realize that you don't have to overeat during the holidays. You certainly should enjoy the foods that are holiday foods, but you don't have to overeat them. My tips for eating during the holiday season would be plan ahead, make sure you have an idea of what's at this party, and plan what you're going to eat. Being exposed to a buffet is always a problem. But if you know there are certain foods that you want, you go into someone's house where you know they have certain holiday foods, go for those foods. Another thing is to stay with the holiday foods. Like, don't have chips or pretzels at a holiday party. Try to do the foods that you just get this time of year, because it makes it more of a holiday type celebration, because food is very much part of our holidays. You can also have dessert for lunch. You can bring cookies, and that can be your lunch at work, or you can go out for something festive, but you don't have the meal and the dessert. You also can increase your physical activity. If you know you're going to a party, you can make sure the next day that you are planning to be more physically active, particularly if it's outside, because it takes more calories for us to control our body temperature, to keep ourselves warm when it's cold out. So if you're exercising outside, whatever it is, walking or whatever, you will burn more calories. You don't go to a party starving. You never do that. You can always eat less the next day, but you make sure you eat during that day, because if you go starving, as soon as you start to eat something fat and salt, fat and sweet, you will start eating more and more food. For some people, along with that is controlling your alcohol, because if you've drank too much, people will overeat. Most celebratory foods tend to be made with fat, because we like fat. We like the taste of fat. So if you're going to be making a holiday food, I recommend people go with the regular recipe. Don't try to cut back on the fat, because if you cut back on the fat, you're going to have more sugar, more carbohydrate, and people tend to eat more of that product, the lower quality product. When you have a high quality, say, cookie or cake, you can be satisfied with a small amount. But if it's a non-fat or a fat-free version, people just keep eating because they're not getting that taste of fat that they like. For someone who wants to stay on their diet during the holiday season, it's certainly not impossible. I think one of the things I do get people saying is they sort of throw their hands up and say, well, it's the holidays, everyone's overeating. And you don't have to do that. You can eat a sensible way most of the week, and then say pick 2 days where you're eating your holiday food. You don't every single day need to have holiday food, and if you're having smaller portions of the holiday food, if you're having it in a snack version, that's actually worse, because we're more efficient at trapping those calories. So you might want to make sure you put the dessert food with a meal, like your lunch, or have your lunch just be your dessert, so you're not spreading the food out through the day, and you don't need it for the entire time between Thanksgiving and New Year's. There are some days that you can behave yourself and you can stay on your diet.